Hi guys, Lindsay here with Storybook Family Farm. Today I want to discuss with you guys a little bit about temptations, because on this journey that we've been on of, trying to find our home and, homesteading and just really taking a lot of big blind leaps of faith, there have been a lot of things that have tempted us along the way to essentially kind of trick us, to test our resolve is what it felt like. And I wanted to have an open discussion with you guys about this because, well, it just happened again. And I'm not talking like temptations like, the devil's tempting me or anything ridiculous like that. So for those of you that don't know, our journey has been a very long journey that has gotten us to where we're at right now. The big leaps of faith that I was mentioning are basically selling everything that we had, donating everything that we couldn't sell, and moving into a camper on the blind faith that the universe would prevail and that we would find our home. So that was a very long journey. We ended up living in a camper on family land for over 11 and a half months before we were able to move into where we're at now. It took 11 months to find it, and it took about a half a month to be able to close on it and get it ready for us to be able to move to, which, was very much still like roughing it, but it was better than living in a camper. So along that path of trying to find our home, in the years prior to that, we had been looking for land for a very long time, and that was pretty much our only option to it. But along that path and along that journey, we had hoped and had set out that we would be able to find a property that we could buy with cash from selling our old house and make it so that way we wouldn't have a mortgage. That was why we did that big, bold, crazy, brave, or stupid. Now looking back, I know that we were very brave. But at the time, we felt very foolish for doing this, and pretty much everybody we knew made sure they told us how stupid we were. Except for my sister. She was very much like, you guys are really brave. This is the smart thing to do. So thank you, sis. But along that journey, we had been tempted several different times of different properties, of things that weren't quite right for us. And we knew that they weren't, but it would get us out of the camper. It would get us out of the very difficult living situation that we were in. Living in a camper with a teenage son is not comfortable, especially when you also have 3 little dogs living there. Add in homesteading on top of that, while also just starting a small business that operated out of the camper. Those things made it very difficult to manage. So basically anything that came up on the market, we were like tempted like crazy to try to just try and just try and just try. And along the way, several people had told us that we should give up the notion of trying to find something that we could be debt free with, trying to do something in a way that was still homesteading. People kept trying to convince us to move back to town, that it'd be easier than living in the camper, and that we should do this and that we should do that, and we should give up, and we should just get a big, huge, hefty mortgage that we couldn't afford. And for a while we thought, maybe they're right. We had seen several different places that were things that were really far away, things that just weren't right, that also, would have basically broken our whole thing of us setting out to do the whole thing to get a house without a mortgage. We would have had to have a mortgage, and it would have been a really big mortgage to even attempt to have something that wasn't even as good of what we wanted. Like, it wasn't even close. And then eventually we ended up getting led to where we're at now, which, as you guys know, I've talked at length several different times about not being content with where we're at. Tracy has discussed it too, even more recently. So with that being said, and that preface being said, the other day we actually did go look at a property. It was a property that is actually right down the road from us. It's close enough that we actually walked there to go look at it, and it was in the 90s outside. So, for us to be willing to walk somewhere that isn't very far away at 90 degrees tells you that it really is stinking close. So we had gotten really jazzed about it. We had honestly thought, while we were looking at pictures and all that stuff and dreaming up all the scenarios of it, we had honestly thought this might be it. This might be where we're going next. And we kind of fell into the trap of the temptation of it all, the excitement of it all, how that would be a quick, easy fix to all the problems that we have here. Of, that this land is difficult to homestead on because in the spring it stays way too wet for way too long, which now that we're in a drought period, it's kind of been a blessing because we don't have to water as much as other people would. Or, that the woods are way too steep, that it's difficult to get up in there, it's difficult to move around, it's not friendly on my body here. And that house also was a single-story house, so it would have solved the problem of how many steps that we have to get up. So all the things of temptation were there, of that we talked about in a previous video, of how our dream has changed a lot. Pretty much everything that we described was that property. And then when we went and looked at it the next day, we still were kind of like jazzed about it and like really excited and like thinking about all the possibilities. And then yesterday, Tracy brought up the fact of the property line, of how you can see it everywhere. And that was something that I had been thinking about how that would make me uncomfortable. And she had said that she thought that for the first year of us living there, we'd be very happy, that we'd feel very fulfilled. And then after that year, it'd be the same thing all over again, that it's empty, it's hollow, it doesn't have the room for us to grow and to expand as humans and to evolve and just basically let ourselves become whatever we're meant to become. And that was something that really hit me hard, because it immediately brought me back to reminding myself of how our journey was to get to where we're at now, of how many times we were misled and misdirected and almost like a donkey with a carrot in front of its face, of being just led along this way and that way and the other way and stuff, just to get us to do a certain action, which, for some people it might feel like the universe is sort of duping them and stringing them along. But to be quite honest, I don't think that that's what it is. I think that those little temptations are there to test your own resolve, to see what it is that you really want, how firm you can be on what it is that you want, how patient can you be. But also, too, to help you understand that sometimes you deserve more than just your needs met. Sometimes you deserve to have your wants met too. And that is something that we're kind of at right now. This property that we're at here, it meets all of our needs. We manifested a place that is exactly what we needed. It's just not what we wanted. And that's something that's been kind of hard for me, because I am someone that is a very grateful, heartfelt, gratitude-filled person. And so whenever I'm given everything that I need, it is hard for me to go, okay, that's nice, I appreciate you fulfilling all of my needs, but I want more. It's hard for me to ask for what I want. It's very easy for me to ask for what I need. And this whole thing with looking at that other property kind of reminded me of that it's okay to ask for what I want, that where I'm at now, I have everything that I need, but it's okay to want more. That I don't have to be mad at myself for having desires inside of my heart to want something better, to want something bigger, to want something more expansive, to want something that's more easy to maintain and to work the land, because this land is not very easy for us to maintain. You go between it being way too stinking wet to all of the clay basically turning into cement with the drought season, and the hillside is very hard to walk up and to navigate and to do stuff with. So there's a lot of difficult things, but it's beautiful back here in the same regard. It's absolutely stunning back here. It's very peaceful back here. It's quiet, it's calm back here, and that's something that I enjoy. So it's something that I need, but it's not the amount of quantity that I want, which is something that's very hard for me to verbalize. But yeah, it's kind of a weird feeling to know that this item has flashed up in front of us to show us that this is the other thing that we need, that we said that we needed these things, and all of our needs would be met better there than they would be here, but none of our wants would still be met. And with saying that, that makes us wait. That makes us want to wait for basically all of our wants and our desires to be met in a property, which we understand that might take a while. And I know somebody's going to think, well, you can't have everything you want, Lindsay, but to be quite honest, I'm to the point of my life that I really believe that we can, because I've put in the work. I have done the hard work. I've done everything that's been asked. I've held the faith. I've held the space, and I've put in the work. And I don't think there's anything wrong with us waiting until we have what we want. So that's kind of our game plan here right now, is to just wait till we find something that checks off all of the boxes. Because honestly, moving an entire farm is a very, very difficult, cumbersome task. It is not easy. It is not enjoyable. It is not fun to move a farm. And to be quite honest, we really would like it to be that our next move is our final move. And when Tracy picked up on that place there, that probably a year later after moving there, we would probably want to move again and look for more land. That's how we know that it's not the place for us. Although it probably is going to be for somebody that's, probably into the same sort of lifestyle, because a lot of people on our road are very much homesteading type of people, which is really neat to be in that sort of a community of somewhat like-minded folk who don't get angry that your rooster's crowing in the morning. So that is a very nice perk of living where we're at. But to be quite honest, it's not what we want. As you guys know, we want much more than what we have. And we aren't going to settle for less than that. We'd rather stay where we're at than, try to get something that's going to be better for only a year or two. So anyways, that's that. Let me know in the comment section if you guys would like for me to, whenever we find potential other properties, to discuss pros and cons before we look at them, or, just tell you guys about them once we've looked at it. Or if you guys just want to wait for the suspense of, boom, we found something that is ours. So let me know how involved you guys want to be on this journey of us kind of seeking for our forever home, because this is our home for now, but it definitely is not our forever type of home, because our hearts are longing for something that's far more than this and that suits us far better. And yeah, that's kind of all I got for right now. So anyways, thanks for watching. Have a good one, guys.